Hello, I'm Kate. Today in the Gospel of John, we're gonna discuss the Samaritan woman at the well. Let's open John chapter 4, verse 1. Jesus knew the Pharisees had heard that he was baptizing and making more disciples than John. Though Jesus himself didn't baptize them, his disciples did. So he left Judea and returned to Galilee. So, like what we said last chapter, John wasn't trying to compete with Jesus. Who was the person that baptized the most people? On the other hand, Jesus wasn't trying to be the person that baptized the most people. In fact, he actually go away when there are many people coming to him to get baptized. Why? Because he doesn't want the attention from Pharisees, because the Pharisees could shut his ministry before its due time, and he want to spend that time teach us. So in the future, we're gonna see other scenarios when there are many people come to Jesus and he has to go away, just because he is trying to avoid that conflict between himself and the Pharisees, to give himself more chance to teach us. And let's continue verse 4. He had to go through Samaria on the way. Eventually, he came to the Samaritan village of Sychar, near the field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." He was alone at that time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" So, Samaritan is still a part of Israel, but after King Solomon, Israel divided into north and south. Samaritan is in the northern kingdom, and south is the Jews, and the capital of south is Jerusalem. So there's this conflict between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and here we can see people don't actually talk to each other. And let's keep reading. Jesus replied, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to you will ask me, and I will give you living water. But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said. "This well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you are greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoy?" Jesus replied, "Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life." "Please, sir," the woman said, "give me this water. Then I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water." "Go and get your husband," Jesus told her. "I don't have a husband," the woman replied. Jesus said, "You are right, you don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you are living with now. You certainly spoke the truth." "Sir," the woman said, You must be a prophet. So tell me, why is it that you Jews insisted that Jerusalem is the only place of worship, while we Samaritans claim it is here at Mount Gerizim, where our ancestors worshipped? Jesus replied, Believe me, dear woman, the time is coming when it will no longer matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem. You Samaritans know very little about the one you worship, while we Jews knew all about him. For salvation comes through the Jews. But the time is coming, indeed, it is here now, when true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. The Father is looking for those who will worship him that way, for God is spirit. So those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. The woman said, I know the Messiah is coming, the one who is called Christ. When he comes, he will explain everything to us. Then Jesus told her, I am the Messiah. Let's pause here for a second. So here we can see that in the beginning they are talking about water, and the Samaritan woman was talking about the drinking water. Jesus was talking about the living water that will never run dry. So it's like our life. We eat, we drink, but we get hungry, we get thirsty again. We work for money, but we'll spend it, and then we need to work again. So it's like never ending. It's never satisfying. But Jesus' living water will satisfy us, will fulfill us, that we'll never need to go back again and again and again. How beautiful is that? And here we see that Jesus prophesied over the woman. Jesus didn't know the woman, so he didn't know these facts. It's called word of knowledge. He received the word of knowledge from the Holy Spirit that this woman had 5 husbands, and the man she's living now is not her husband. So when she heard that, she knew that you are a prophet. And the first question she want to know is, where do we worship? Because the kingdom was divided into 2, and it's obvious that the king of the northern kingdom doesn't want people to go back down to Jerusalem to worship God. So he created this altar on the mountain and say, this is the place to worship now. So after generations, the Samaritans only know that they should worship at Mount Gerizim instead of Jerusalem. But Jesus said, it's not gonna be matter anymore, because we are worshiping from our heart, from our spirit. So it doesn't matter which church we go to. It matters our heart, and worship him in truth. And here we also see that the first time Jesus actually declared clearly to a woman, a Samaritan woman, that he is the Messiah. And she must be overwhelmed. So let's keep on reading. Verse 27, just then his disciples came back. They were shocked to find him talking to a woman, but none of them had the nerve to ask, what do you want with her, or why are you talking to her? The woman left her water jar beside the well and ran back to the village, telling everyone, come and see a man who told me everything I've ever did. Could he possibly be the Messiah? So the people came streaming from the village to see him. So here we see that she's not only a Samaritan, but she's a woman. So back in the days, woman is in a subclass of men. So they don't talk to Samaritan and they don't talk to women. So this surprised his disciples, but they couldn't say anything because he's the rabbi. And here it really shows us that Jesus has heart for everyone. It doesn't matter where they're from, it doesn't matter their gender. Jesus wants to touch all of our hearts. And here we also see how Jesus evangelized. So first, he used the word of knowledge to show the woman what she's done, and the woman will believe, oh, you are a prophet. And then it's a time he can start teaching, he can start fill her with the purpose. And the end result is she go to the whole village and tell them. Some people might think that when Jesus exposed her with 5 husbands and the man she's living with now is not her husband. Like some people say Jesus is exposing her sin. I actually believe otherwise, because if someone exposes my sin, the first thing I want to do is to hide, not to go to the whole village and tell people, come and see this man accuse me. It doesn't make sense, right? So to me, when Jesus speaks that word, he actually sees her trauma and she can feel the love of the Father, that she can feel that all her pain, all her trauma, God actually saw that. So that's when we evangelize. We are not going around and persecuted people, judging people, but we actually show God's heart for them to bring out that trauma, to bring out that pain, that they actually have an encounter with the loving Father, and that's how we should share the gospel. So that's it for today.